Hello everyone! So today we're going to go through and customize another base set Pokemon starter deck. This one is Blackout, which features water and fighting type Pokemon based on the Squirtle line. And for its Kanto starter Pokemon, and also the Machop evolutions. So, again, like the others, first thing we're going to do is go through the deck list. We have, to begin with, for Squirtle, the Water Kanto starter, Tiny Turtle. Squirtle's Japanese name is Zenigame, which literally translates in English to pond turtle. It's Evolution Wartortle, 2 of those. Here's the starter deck's foil, Hitmonchan. Three Onyx. I was wondering why they put 3 in there, but this is pretty much the sturdiest of the basic Pokemon that came out in the base set back in 1999 or 2000. It's the highest HP of all the starters. Sorry, not starters. Basic Pokemon, unevolved Pokemon. Although it really doesn't do that much damage. But saw common use when the game first came out. To Machoke. And for Machop. For Sandshrew? I've always liked Sandshrew, it's cute. The deck does come with 3 Staryu, but I only have 1 here in my collection. But it does originally come with 3. Although no Starmie. Didn't include any Starmie, even though Starmie came out in the base set. To Farfetch'd, which back in 2000, when I bought my Brushfire deck, which is the one I started with, when I later got the Blackout deck, I transferred the Farfetch'd into the Brushfire deck, because this was probably the most versatile of the base set basic Pokemon. Not the toughest, but one of the more useful ones. Just wish Pidgey and Pidgeotto had been equally as useful, because those are my favorites. A Super Energy Removal. For Energy Removal, not sure why this deck came with so many Energy Removal cards, and the others had so few, or none, but there they are. Gust of Wind. I love Gust of Wind. Plus Power. Attached to a Pokemon, lets that Pokemon do an extra 10 damage in 1 attack. Even back then, that wasn't much. If it was plus 20 or 30, it might have seen more use, but just plus 10, I don't know. 1 Professor Oak. Not that many trainers in this one, but a lot of energy removals. And 16 fighting and 12 water energies. So, now we have to customize and improve this deck. So how do we do that? Well, first thing I'm going to do is take out one Squirtle, because we really only need 3, and replace that one Squirtle with Squirtle's final evolution, the king of this deck, Blastoise. Base set holofoil Blastoise. Hitmonchan I'm going to keep. Onix is pretty tough. I am going to take out one Onix and replace it with its Johto evolution, Steelix. Now, this Steelix came out in the Neo Genesis set a few years later, or maybe just a couple years later. It only requires one metal type energy, or steel type energy, because steel type energy just began to come out in that release too, with Pokemon Gold and Silver, which introduced the steel type and the dark type. So metal energy was pretty hard to get when it first came out, so making a Pokemon heavily reliant on steel energy would have very much reduced its usefulness. But in order to use Steelix in this deck, I am going to add some, not the Neo Genesis one, but some more recent steel type energies. So, Onix and Steelix. Machoke, Machop. We're only going to keep 3 Machop. So we'll take out the 4th and add in Machamp. An interesting thing about Machamp that I only learned when I did research on the base set was that an unlimited Machamp for the base set, which means not first edition, was never printed. It only came out in a very limited edition that was released near the beginning of the Pokemon trading card game. In a I believe it was in one of the very beginning decks that actually came out before these first 4 theme decks. So it was very hard to get, maybe only second to Charizard. Although Alakazam is pretty hard too. So, yeah, there's the Machamp. We've still kept the same number of Pokemon. We've added in the exact same amount as we've taken out. That's impressive at this point. Okay. Yep, 4 Sandshrew. And I am probably going to take out 1 Sandshrew. Let's see. Well, there were 3 Staryu when this came out. Depending on what you want to do with the deck, here are a few options for the Sandshrew and Staryu lines. Could either go with Sandshrew and Sandslash, or Staryu and Starmie, or a little bit of each. The Starmie also came out in the base set, so could get those before Jungle and Fossil. Can add 1 or 2 Starmie. Starmie's kind of energy heavy, so it probably wouldn't use more than 2, but 2's fine. It does have good attacks. Sandslash didn't come out until the Fossil set, which was the 3rd set. But Sandslash is also pretty cool. Sandslash is, I believe, still my favorite pure ground type Pokemon. I like a few Pokemon more that are that are part ground type, but yeah, Sandslash is my favorite all ground type. And what's cool about it is that Sandshrew could be caught relatively early in the Red and Blue games when they came out. So you could get a Sandslash when your Sandshrew reaches level 22 pretty easily. And then when the Gold and Silver games came out and we were introduced to shiny Pokemon, I loved Sandslash's shiny coloration, the pale brown and the bright red spikes. Loved it. I nicknamed my Sandshrew, then Sandslash, Sekyu Kizu, which in Japanese literally translates to Dune Scar. The slasher that scars the dunes. But when I build ground type decks with Sandshrew and Sandslash in them, I really don't. I usually don't go for the Fossil Sandslash. The Sandslash I like most is one that came out much later, and I have 2 of those, the Dark Sandslash. And all the energy it requires is colorless, so it can be splashed into any deck that has Sandshrew in it. I love the Dark Sandslash. So yeah, depending on what you want to do with the Sandshrew Staryu balance, can go the Sandslash way or Starmie way or a little bit of both. I believe that covers all the Pokemon. Could take the 2 Farfetch'd out too. Could also add in, if you still need space for Pokemon, could add in Magikarp or Dratini, any of the colorless Pokemon. Could also combine it with Poliwag, Poliwhirl, Poliwrath. A lot of options. Almost too many to go through. I really like Sandslash. Okay. Trainer cards. I'll probably keep Super Energy Removal. Maybe get it for the other decks. It is good. It removes 2 energy attached to an opponent's Pokemon for the price of removing 1 of your energy cards. It is pretty easy to use that at the right time, where it doesn't hurt you that much, but can really hurt your opponent. The single energy removals, I liked using them when the game very first came out. Can keep them in there. I like a slightly different balance of trainer cards. But I did like it when I bought this deck and got 4 energy removals. Because I like to use them from time to time. But here's what I would like more than 4 energy removals. 4 bills. Draw cards were very rare when the game first came out. So having 4 of these, which allows you to each draw 2 cards, was very helpful. Professor Oak, I'm going to keep. Plus power, no. Again, it's not enough to really make the difference that I want it to. Gust of Wind I love. Might add more of those for balance. You can add plus power if you want. I mean, this is a deck based on heavy hitting, but plus 10 is not much. There are better attack cards now. Pokédex, very useful when the game first came out. Look at up to 5 cards from the top of your deck and rearrange them as you like. Again, cards that would have you drawing and shuffling were rare with the first releases, so this was more helpful than it is today. And 2, energy retrievals. Again, because it was pretty much the only way for you to do so back then. And let's see, 16 fighting energy, 12 water energy. Again, this depends on the balance that you want to reach. I'd probably replace 5 of the fighting energy, because that would still give you 11, with 5 metal energy to accommodate Steelix. Because any less than that, and it would hard to get a metal energy at the right time. Again, even Energy Search didn't come out until the Fossil set. Another one that's very useful, double colorless energy. Can add 1 or 2 of those. Oh, here's something. Can replace Gust of Wind with Switch, which lets you switch your own Pokemon active to bench instead of your opponent's, which Gust of Wind does. I find Gust of Wind more useful, but depending on the player, might want to switch. Or 1 of each, or 2 of each. So, that's modifying the deck based on the early sets. Building a Blackout deck today, there are many more Pokemon and cards to add. Let's see, in the Jungle set, we got Rhyhorn. I have the Destruction Rush deck, which came out years and years later. But Rhyhorn first came out in the Jungle set. You can use Rhyhorn, even though this is not the Jungle Rhyhorn. Evolve it. This is the Jungle Rhydon. And I even have Rhyperior. I'll be customizing the Destruction Rush deck in a later video as well. Could add Larvitar, Pupitar, Tyranitar. Cubone and Marowak. A Marowak Break card came out recently that is pretty powerful. And this Cubone with this Marowak and then the Marowak Break, that's a very powerful combination. As for water Pokemon make up such a huge percentage of the number of Pokemon that there's so many things you can do with those. I don't think I could get through all the things you can modify with the water Pokemon if even if I tried. I try to come up with a plan. So that is my building and customization of the Pokemon base set Blackout theme deck.